Shana Tova, everyone. What's the point of remembering how people died if we forget how they lived? When I was 16, I traveled to Poland on the March of the Living. Alongside fellow high school students from all across the country and even the world, I walked the 3-kilometer path from Auschwitz to Birkenau on Yom HaShoah, a tribute to the 6 million whose lives were stolen in the Shoah. Together, we walked hand in hand through Warsaw, Krakow, Majdanek, Lublin, and Auschwitz. We listened to the stories of the survivors who joined us, Mariette, Robbie, and Fanny. We cried, we sang, we bore witness. It was a powerful and critical experience of memory, zikaron, and of understanding the enduring threat of anti-Semitism. And though I never expected to return to Poland, I found myself back there again 8 years later as a Yeshiva student at Pardes in Jerusalem. This time, I encountered a complementary dimension, not only memorializing Jewish death, but also celebrating the 2,000 years of Jewish life that proceeded in Europe. We toured magnificently designed synagogues and brought them back to life with our tefillah. We studied Daf Yomi, a daily page of Talmud at Yeshivat Chochmei Lublin, where the practice was first born. We sang Yiddish nigunim at the grave of Rav Elimelech of Lezhansk, one of the great Hasidic masters, reviving melodies nearly lost to time. And this trip wasn't only about the past. We dined at a kosher restaurant in Tarnow run by a native Montrealer. We spent Shabbat with young Jews at Hillel in Warsaw and at the Krakow JCC, witnessing how Polish Jewry is rebuilding with courage, with creativity, and with life. These 2 trips, taken years apart, offered me 2 essential lenses into Jewish memory. One showed me the depths of Jewish loss. The other, the height of Jewish creativity. Together, they remind us that our story cannot be fully told without both. We cannot learn about how Jews died without also learning about how Jews lived. In her book, People Love Dead Jews, Dara Horn describes an early encounter she had with anti-Semitism. A high school tournament in Nashville where her teammates were stunned to learn that she was Jewish. To them, Jews only existed in history books as victims. She writes, "People love dead Jews. Living Jews, not so much." To combat this, author Sarah Hurwitz urges us in her newest book, As a Jew, that we must reclaim Judaism, Jewish life, from those who blame, shame, or try to erase us. The challenge, of course, is that the data paints a worrying picture. The 2020 Pew Research study found that 1.5 of the 5.8 million Jewish adults in the US consider themselves cultural Jews, Jews of no religion. And strikingly, 76% of this group said that the most essential part of their Jewish identity was remembering the Holocaust. It's not only a statistic, it's something we see in our own community. Sociologists call it the surge. After October 7th, people were searching, reaching, connecting, not out of joy, but out of fear, outrage, and grief. I remember the dresha I gave on that first Shabbat evening after the horrific attack, feeling for the first time the immediacy of Lecha Dodi's Emek Habacha, the Valley of Tears. It was so important to find solace in community in those days, weeks, months, and even years after October 7th. We needed to sit together in our pain. But I worry, if we only sit in our pain, do we risk forgetting how to feel Jewish joy? If our Judaism is only activated by tragedy, have we failed to build a Judaism worth living for? A few months ago, over a cup of coffee, a young member of our community shared that the hardest part of encountering anti-Semitism at work, on campus, and online is that it has sucked the life out of the Judaism she once knew. She spends all her energy defending our people and our right to self-determination in our homeland with none left to actually enjoy being Jewish. She told me that Judaism used to feel like an apple tree. She could walk right up, pick the fruit, and enjoy its sweetness. But now, that tree is behind a fence. And the apples are there, but they fall and get caught in the barbed wire. She can't enjoy the apples the way she used to. Her analogy stuck with me. When Jewish identity is all fences and fear, we forget to nurture what makes the tree bear fruit in the first place. Yes, it's essential, of course, to protect the tree. But we must also tend to it, water it, prune it, harvest it, and share its sweetness with the world. That's part of the challenge before us today. To remember that resilience isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's about creating, celebrating, living. One student in the Introduction to Judaism course that I teach for conversion candidates shared this feeling. A Jew of patrilineal descent, she didn't grow up very connected to Jewish ritual or Jewish community. And in May 2021, as tensions around Israel intensified, she dove into advocacy. But after October 7th, something shifted. As she reflected on how drained she felt, she realized that her most meaningful contribution to the Jewish people wouldn't come from fighting online trolls, but from understanding and owning her inherited text, rituals, and traditions. From becoming a bearer of Jewish wisdom and practice. The best defense, as they say, is a good offense. And so she signed up to learn in our course about her tradition and to affirm her Jewish identity through halacha. Our Torah commands us, "V'samachta bechol hatov," you shall rejoice in all of the good. Because in moments when despair threatens to overtake us, when fear is there at our door, we need to be reminded of the power of Jewish joy. During Iran's most recent attack on Israel, I checked in on some of my family and friends who are living there, as I often do. And they responded, not with videos of destruction, but with videos of Israelis dancing and singing together in shelters. And then I remembered Moshe Peretz's concert months earlier, when a siren interrupted the music and the crowd responded by singing the joyful words of Tamid Ohev Oti. God will always love me, and good things will come my way. At UJA's annual campaign launch last week, Douglas Murray called this the difference between Hamas's death cult and Israel's life cult. Our Torah, again, says it even more powerfully. Uvacharta v'chaim. Choose life. This call to choose life echoes the words of sociologist Salo Baron, who warned against seeing Jewish history only as a continuous source of suffering, persecution, and tragedy. It's called the lachrymose view of Jewish history, and it's the source of that famous old joke, they tried to kill us, they failed, let's eat. Barron's message is that this is not all that we as Jews are about. He insisted that Jewish history was not just a chain of disasters, but also a tale of cultural flourishing, adaptation, and resilience. Even in times of oppression, the Jewish people have created, built, and thrived. This year, the Hostages and Missing Families Forum sent out a Rosh Hashanah pamphlet to rabbis and Jewish communities around the world. They asked us to make space in our High Holy Day prayers and sermons for the 48 souls still held in captivity in Gaza. What stood out most was how they chose to describe each hostage, not by how they were abducted or murdered, but by how they lived. Alon Ohel is described as a talented pianist. Ariel Cuneo as a lover of astronomy. Ronen Engel as a Magen David Adom volunteer, a photographer, and a father who was always smiling. To honor the hostages is to recommit ourselves to living, really living, Jewishly in their memory and in merit of their return. So here we are today on Rosh Hashanah. For the past month, we have recited Psalm 27 in anticipation of these Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. Lulei ha'emanti lirot betuv Adonai be'eretz chaim. Had I not the assurance that I would enjoy the goodness of God in the land of the living. And today on Rosh Hashanah, we call out to God, Zochrenu lechaim. Remember us for life. Besefer chaim, inscribe us in the book of life. Uchtov lechaim tovim, write us for a good life. The land of the living, Eretz Chaim, and the book of life, Sefer Chaim, are not just poetic phrases. They are our yearly reminder to cultivate a Judaism that pulses with vibrancy, purpose, meaning, and joy. One that inspires, comforts, challenges, and uplifts. One that invites us to dance and to sing as much as it demands that we mourn. A Judaism where our Batei Knesset, our houses of gathering, are not just sanctuaries in times of crisis, but places of celebration, of connection, of learning, and of living. This year, Beth Tzedek celebrates our 70th year of inspiring, meaningful Jewish lives. Here at Beth Tzedek, we are committed to a Judaism of vitality. Not reactive, but creative. Not defensive, but expansive. Not surviving, but thriving. So join us. Be part of our So You Want to Write Your Story small group, a memoir writing circle for Jewish storytelling and vitality. Learn with us in one of the 70 opportunities curated in celebration of our 70th anniversary. There is something for everyone. Join us for Simchat Torah in just a couple of weeks. Not only to dance with the Torah, but to remind ourselves that our joy is an act of defiance and resilience. We need your joy. Today, as we pray to be written in Sefer HaChaim, in the book of life, may we write ourselves into the story of Jewish living. Let us commit not just to being Jewish, but to doing Jewish, actively, joyfully, and meaningfully. This year, may we not only be written in the book of life, but may we live it. Shana Tova.